Welcome to another episode of Screenwriting Uncut. In this video, I want to talk about how to win the screenwriting lottery. Most writers, most people think of screenwriting as a bit of a lottery. They think that you have to be in the right place at the right time. They think you have to have the right connections. They think that you have to write whatever is hot at the moment. They think you have to write to a specific formula. They think all these ideas that if you're lucky enough, you will connect, you'll be in that right place at the right time to connect with that producer who's going to pick you out of the lineup, throw cash at you, and make you a big star. And it's, unfortunately, the way to win the screenwriting lottery is to stop treating it like a lottery. This is entirely wrong. All of these thoughts are entirely inaccurate. They ignore the reality of what screenwriting actually is. When you write a novel, the words that you write will be directly read by your audience. They will connect one-on-one with your audience. So there is a one-to-one reaction. If you paint something, the painting will be viewed and appreciated directly by the audience. If you play the piano or the guitar or whatever, that will be heard directly by the audience. When you write a screenplay, you are writing a screenplay for a creative process that will then turn that story into a film. And the film is what will interact with the audience, will connect with the audience. So as the writer, it's not about... The misconception is that as you write a screenplay, you have to be lucky enough to be plucked out of obscurity to have your film chosen. But that completely ignores and disregards the reality of what you're writing for. As the screenwriter, you are like a director. You are like the film crew. You are like the actors. You are like all of these different roles wrapped up into one, but separate and distinct as well. You are a part of this larger filmmaking group. So even though the group doesn't exist yet, when you first have the idea and you first sit down to write, you're still ultimately going to be a part of that larger group if your film gets turned, if your script gets turned into a film. So the way to approach screenwriting is to understand actually the environment in which you're writing, the environment you're writing for, the people that you're writing for, the larger picture of the filmmaking process. Most people, when they have an idea for a movie, they just sit down, they go, I have a great idea. They buy some screenwriting software and they start writing a script. 100 pages later, they think they have a screenplay. But if it's detached from this larger process, if there is no way for this script to connect with a producer, to connect with that process, if it doesn't take into consideration the filmmaking process, it's not gonna win the lottery. It's not going to connect with anybody. So writers do this all the time. They pour these scripts out there that have no way of being used by producers, by production companies, by the people who would pick your script. It's not a matter of their picking your script. They're trying to find the film they're going to make. You need to write the script they're going to want to make. And there are a number of reasons why someone would want to make a film. From the producer's perspective, we want to make sure that it's going to be profitable. We have very serious financial considerations. How am I going to get money to make this thing? Can I convince someone else that there's profit margin in here? Can I convince someone else that there's an audience that would like this story? That we can make this for a specific market. You don't want to write for the market. You don't want to take your creativity out of the process. But there's this huge misconception that it's art versus commerce. And the reality of filmmaking, the reality of the movie process, is that it's not art versus commerce. It's art and commerce. Because movies are an inherently expensive process, it's going to cost, even a low-budget film will cost $100,000, $1 million. That kind of money is, because that kind of money has to be invested, it's something that has to recoup that money on some level. Unless there's a philanthropist that's willing to throw millions of dollars at you and doesn't even care about the profit margin, we have to consider the profitability, the potential profitability, which means we have to consider the audience, which means we have to make something that is accessible to the audience, something that a producer can actually connect with. Now, as we move into this era where people can make smaller micro-budget films, those kinds of considerations might not matter, but we're still competing for attention in an environment where there are a lot of great stories out there. Micro-budget movies have a hard time getting seen because they're treating it like the lottery mentality. The key to success is to effectively marry art plus commerce together, to use the realities of the filmmaking process, the realities of the business, to inform your creativity, to be part of your creative process. So it's not you against them, it's you with them. So your voice, your vision, your creativity is something that not only can they use, they want to use. They want to make the story that you have to tell. And because you've created it in a way they can actually use, you've created something that they can say yes to. And that really is the secret to winning the screenwriting lottery. Treat writing as a process. Understand the entire process and go through the process. Don't skip parts. Go through the entire process so that you can turn your ideas into stories producers can actually say yes to. I hope you found this helpful and informative. Let me know in the comments, and we'll see you next time on Screenwriting Uncut. Thanks.